We're very lucky to have Ross Raisin reading next from his debut novel, God's Own Country. He's been nominated for the Dylan Thomas Prize and the John Llewellyn Prize. Please welcome to the stage, Ross Raisin.
I tilted the latch off the chicken coop and I creaked it open. A dim bulb was dangling on the wall, sending a fuzz of yellow into the dark beyond the door gap. In I went. My feet brushed fresh straw, a dull golden covering across the floor, and all these tufts sticking out from boxes and roof beams, making the whole place snug. Not a hard life for these chickens. Wouldn't have minded a try of that. Not an inch of worry, apart from where'd that worm go? And of course the fox creeping in to snatch their heads off. I thought I'd just take a look, so I stepped further in, stooping under the beans, peeking in the boxes where puffed up chickens brooded nice and peaceful. We didn't keep chickens at our place. They make more shite than money, was Father's opinion. No shite on view in Delton's coop, mind. She probably had them trained to crap in trays. Scratch, scratch, I could hear. So I followed on past a tower of sideways boxes, stacked up into a block of flats for chickens. And there was a mouse rubbing his hands behind a pile of long sticks. He fucked off when he saw me. As I walked back to the door, a chicken popped her head over the top of a box. "Hello there." She sided her head, so the eye was full on me. "Cluck, cluck, Mars Dyke's here." More heads popped up. "Shut it, chickens," I said. "You'll wake her up." And the cockerel started up. "Cock-a-doodle-doo, eh? You bam pot. It's the middle of the bleeding night. Some alarm clock you are." There was no talking to him, perched up on the beam there like a pineapple. "Cock-a-doodle-doo," he called again. "How many girlfriends do you have, Mars Dyke? I've got 20. I got out the door sharpish and pulled it shut. Then I stood in the darkness behind the coop and waited for the gabble inside to quiet down as they went back to roost. When I was sure they were all settled and Delton wasn't coming inspecting, I opened the door again. Just a sliver. I near took off then. Near went home for bed and left Mr. Fox to his midnight feast. But I didn't, because there was a chicken by the side of the coop that got out without me seeing. She was fair relaxed for a runaway, poking in the ground for worms. God had certain wired chickens up nice and simple. Switched them on and they look for food. Never mind if it's the middle of the night and the fox is on his way. I watched her a moment. If there was one out, the rest would follow soon enough. I was 2 steps off, but she still didn't notice me. "Some daft bloody chickens you've got here, Delton." And the gnarly smile comes out. "You've done it now, Mars Dyke. She'll never be warm on you after I tell her about this." Poke, poke, poke. "Anyone seen that worm?" "I'm sure it was round here someplace." "Oh, is that you, Mars Dyke?" The head pricked on one side, then the other. "You seen the worm?" "The fuck I have," I said. "Get back in the coop." I got behind her and shunted her with my boot. She clucked and fluttered some and scooted in the door. I followed her in. The place was at peace now, all snug and yellowish, and she looked up at me. "You again, Mars Dyke? You've done it now, that's for sure." The rubbery red jowl under her chin was wobbling. I moved toward her and she clocked me with her marble eye. "Vermin, you are. Nobbut vermin." I was near enough I could see the red rim of her nosehole. "First the mushrooms, now this, dear me, poke, poke." "Fuck you," I said, and I kicked her. She flailed through the air like a torn football. Heads popped up over the boxes, but I ignored them and I went in for her again. I belted her high this time, and she thumped down in the corner where the mouse had been. Straw and feathers floated by my face. She was clucking something desperate now, but she couldn't move apart from a shuffle, as her wing was broke, hanging limp beside her. 100 heads looked on, a hubble shoe of noise starting to get up. I picked up one of the sticks from the pile. She scraffled through the straw away from me, but I stepped right up to her till she turned at me and clucked, the jowl wobbling. "Get off, cluck, cluck. She'll never warm on you now, not after I tell her about this." "Fuck you," I said, and I took a swing. There was a crunch as the stick clobbered her head. She lipped up then, but her body jerked about in the straw, so I gave her another hit, and this time her head flapped on the side. And I gave her another, and it snapped clean off, like knocking the top off a thistle. I stood a time, and my brain went quiet. I knew there was a noise all about the place, for they were out the boxes and the cockerel was back on his beam, but indoors of my head was still. I lent the stick with the others, the damp end bedded into the straw, and I fetched up the body. It was heavy and warm. I tucked it under my arm, trying not to gleg the neck, all stringy red wires like the insides of a cable. It made me want to gip. I'd done it now. Done it champion. I rooted about in the straw for the head. The eye glinted up through cusps of golden straw flecked with blood. I picked it up by the beak, then I inspected quickly round the coop to make sure Mr. Fox hadn't snuck in. I latched the door up, and I bid my riddance. I wasn't moody for letting him in anymore. I couldn't climb the wall with the body under my arm, so I threw it over first and listened for the thud other side, the head stored in my pocket, for I didn't want to toss it up and lose it in the dark. Then I went down by the beck, all burbling water and a wriggly picture of the moon. Would have been postcard down there, a scene like that on a fine, clear night, if there wasn't a head sodding up the insides of my pocket. I buried the body and head together in the soft mud by the water, and I legged it for home. And that's the end, so I'll stop there.